Hello everyone. Today we will look into TOGAF ADM phases. ADM. ADM has several phases. What is ADM? ADM is Architecture Development Method. It is a core component of TOGAF framework. It provides a structured approach to develop and manage the enterprise architecture. Like I said, it has several phases. We'll look into each phase. Each phase has a specific objective and there are some activities in it. So here are the high level details of all those phases. Preliminary phase. Preliminary phase establishes the architectural framework. It allows the framework to be tailored, to be customized, and it allows a framework to work with another framework. Like TOGAF is a framework. There are other frameworks in the industry like Zachman framework, Gartner Enterprise Architecture Framework. So the framework TOGAF can work with other frameworks as well. If one framework helps to create architecture, other helps to organize or categorize the components within it. So every framework has got its benefits. So when working with TOGAF, we have the flexibility to work with other architecture frameworks as well. So in conjunction, it will achieve the enterprise architecture. And it will allow, preliminary phase will allow to establish the principles. It will allow to define the organization context and governance structure. So organization context is what kind of goals, long-term goals, short-term goals the organization is looking into, and what kind of a vision statement it is driving, and then what is mission. And when it comes to governance structure, what kind of capabilities are there and what kind of roles are there? Is there a need to define some capabilities or do some new roles? Okay, and then it will help in preparing the organization for the architecture work. So by setting the vision and capability in right direction, this will improve organization's architecture in future. So that's about preliminary phase in short. Phase A, architecture vision. Architecture vision helps in establishing the architecture vision, which is prepared in preliminary phase. So preliminary phase will set the architecture vision, the vision of the architecture what we are going to derive. But in architecture vision, we'll establish it. So how we establish it? Develop a high-level vision of the desired future architecture by setting vision and aligning strategies. So the organization's strategies, all those strategies now will be aligned to the vision. So that is what we do in the architecture vision. And then all the long-term, short-term and the objectives will be aligned with the vision. So there will be no distraction there, and we have to make sure that there will be no distractions to achieve the vision. And align the vision with business goals and stakeholder needs. It identifies and understands the stakeholder needs, concerns, and their views of the desired state. Right now, our architecture or the organization is, so if we can consider it as the current state. So the desired state will be the future state. By understanding the stakeholder needs and concerns, we can reach the desired state. So it aligns the vision with business goals and stakeholders' needs. And it creates a business case and obtain approval to proceed. So with the needs and concerns and then the strategy with the goals and all these things together, a business use case is created, and then the architecture vision is sent for approval. Phase B, business architecture. Business architecture helps in defining the business architecture, including business processes, functions, and organizational structure. So when we do the business architecture, we try to identify the gaps in the current system and then the desired system or the future system which we are going to develop. So right now the processes, whatever we have, whether they need any tweak, any enhancement, or the functions, or the capability of the organization. So all these kinds of things we look into the current state and then identify the gaps to improve and to take it to the next desired state. It tries to ensure and align with business strategy and objectives. Yeah. So strategy and objectives all should flow in the same direction so that the energy is maintained. And it identifies the business requirements and constraints as well. So yeah, the name itself is business architecture. So it will go deep into the business requirements, concerns, needs, and other things. And when I say constraints, it will also look into the budgets and regulations what are to be considered. That's about business architecture. Phase C is information systems architecture. So the things are a little similar. If you see business architecture, information systems architecture, and technology architecture at a level where we are setting the current system and going to the desired system. At that point, it is all same. We'll try to find the we try to establish the current system, and then we identify the gaps, and then those gaps will be filled to reach the future state. Okay, so information systems architecture is both application and as well as data. So in BDAT, B is business, D is data, and A is application. T is technology. Information system architecture deals with both data and as well as application. It develops the data architectures, focus on data management and data models. It develops the application architecture, focus on application systems and interactions within the systems, ensures integration and alignment with business architecture. So that is the foremost thing. That's about phase C. Phase D, technology architecture. So the same current state and understanding the gaps and then going to the future state. That's all same for the technology architecture as well. It defines the technology architecture. It includes the platform, infrastructure, and the technologies that needs to be used for the development of the software and product, and it ensures alignment with information systems architecture and as well as with the business architecture. That's about phase D, technology architecture. Then comes the phase E, opportunities and solutions. So this is about finding out the opportunities and then what are the solutions that these opportunities are going to provide us. So identify potential solutions and opportunities for achieving the architecture vision. Either if we see, for example, we need a product. If are we going to make it or are we going to buy it? So that kind of a decision is made here. It develops a roadmap for implementation of the product or project, including projects and initiatives. So it lays a roadmap for it, opportunities and solutions. It assesses the risks and also develops the mitigation strategies. So that's about opportunities and solutions in short. Next comes phase F, migration planning. It develops a detailed migration plan for transitioning from the current state to the future state. So in order to travel from the current state to future state, we may have multiple stops. So all these stops are transition 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till we achieve the future state. So migration planning phase F will help us in detailing this plan and to implement that plan. It prioritizes the projects and initiatives based on the business value and feasibilities. So the priority is important. We cannot prioritize everything. So whatever is important to reach the future state, so that prioritization will happen at the projects and initiative levels. And it will try to ensure to align with the overall architecture roadmap. Next comes the phase G, implementation governance. It established the governance structure and processes for overseeing the implementation. So what we're doing right, all the phases. So something has to be there to oversee it, whether things are going in proper way or not. And for that, it establishes a governance structure. So some capabilities, some roles, some skills, all will be identified, and that would be put to monitor progress and ensure compliance with the architecture principles and standards. So to manage change and address issues as well, this implementation governance will help. So in a nutshell, it is about establishing the governance structure which can oversee and monitor the progress of the overall architecture and whether it is complying with all the guidelines and all or not. Next comes phase H, architecture change management. It establishes processes for managing changes to the architecture. So change is the constant thing that we all know. So if architecture has to change, then how well are we equipped to do that? So that process, the change process, and all will come into architecture change management. It monitors the environment for changes that may impact the architecture, and then it will suggest the processes that will help in implementing those changes. And it also ensures that we are in alignment with business goals and objectives. So align with business goals and objective is a must step for all the phases. Next comes the requirements management, which sits in the middle of all these phases, and it interacts with all the phases at all the times. It manages requirements throughout the ADM cycle. Like I said, it interacts with all the phases. It ensures that requirements are captured properly, they are validated and addressed in each phase according to the business needs. And it also maintains the traceability and alignment with the business needs. So these all phases, each phase of the ADM is an iterative. It doesn't mean that we go to this phase once and then we are done. It is an iterative in nature. It may be revisited as needed to accommodate the changes and refinements. ADM provides a comprehensive approach to develop and manage enterprise architecture, ensuring alignment with business strategy and delivering value to the organization. So this is the important thing, that it develops and manages the EA, enterprise architecture. At the same time, it tries to align with business strategy, and it also tries to deliver the value to the organization with the work that it is going to do. ADM nature. So ADM nature, it's an iterative nature. Like we discussed in the previous slide, it is iterative. It's a cyclic process. ADM is structured as a cycle, meaning that if you see this image itself, it looks like a cycle, right? Circle. Meaning that once an organization completes a full pass through all the phases, it can start again from the beginning. So this cyclic approach allows for continuous improvement. For example, we went one round and we missed something. So it's okay. In the second round, we can go and we can add those things, whatever is missed in it. So that's why this cyclic approach allows for continuous improvement and adaptation of the architecture to meet evolving business needs. Today we have some set of requirements. Tomorrow we may get some other requirements. So to accommodate all those requirements, it is important to have a cyclic approach. So it is a cyclic process. And then feedback loops. Each phase of the ADM includes a feedback stage, and it loops in such a way that it will revisit again for refining, and it helps refining the previous phase as well. For example, from when we move from phase to another phase, if the later phase says that something is missing, then it can be a feedback to the previous phase, and then this feedback is taken and then that is improved. So this ensures that any change in business strategy or technology or any other factors that can be incorporated into the architecture. So that's how the feedback loops will help. So it is a feedback loop in its nature. Incremental development. ADM supports incremental development. Yeah, when you go through cycles, it is incremental, where parts of the architecture can be developed and implemented in stages. This allows organizations to deliver value more quickly. So whenever there is a change, you can go through again, you can go a new cycle can be started, and then that can be accommodated, made some adjustments to bring the value. And continuous alignment, yes, cyclic and taking feedback and incrementally developing it, but it should be aligned as well. So the continuous alignment means the iterative nature of the ADM ensures that architecture remains aligned with the organization's strategic objectives, with its mission, its vision, with its goals. As business goals and external conditions change, this is obvious that business goals and external conditions change. The architecture should be adjusted and should be maintained, should be aligned with the organization's strategy. Flexibility and adaptability. The ADM's iterative approach, which we discussed, provides flexibility and adaptability. Yes, right. You can go through the cycles as many times as you want, as you need, and allowing organization to respond to new challenges, opportunities, and technological advancements. This is particularly important in today's rapidly changing business environment where things are going very fast. Risk management. This iterative development allows for ongoing risk assessment and also mitigations. By continuously evaluating risks and making necessary adjustments, organizations can reduce the likelihood of project failures and ensure that it will be successful. So you're gauging, you're weighing every time when you go through the cycle whether there are any risks, and you're identifying the mitigations to resolve those risks, and then uh, you're aligning with the business. So these all things will be helpful in succeeding the projects. Continuous improvement. The iterative nature of the ADM encourages continuous improvement of the architecture, like we saw in other things. Uh, Lessons learned from each cycle, like in feedback loop, when you send feedback to the previous phase, it tries to improve. So that lessons learned from each cycle can be applied to subsequent iterations, not only from one phase to other phase, from one iteration to other iteration as well. You can implement those lessons learned and leading to a more refined and effective architecture over the time. That's about continuous improvement. And stakeholder engagement. The iterative process allows ongoing stakeholder engagement and feedback. So every time a cycle is done, we reach to the stakeholders and we show the architecture. And if there is any feedback, we take it. So this way, the engagement of stakeholder and the progress is always in view of stakeholder. That ensures that the architecture remains relevant and it meets the needs of the organization and to its stakeholders. In summary, the iterative nature of the ADM allows organizations to continuously refine and adapt their enterprise architecture to align with changing business needs and external conditions as well. This approach supports continuous improvement, risk management, stakeholder engagement, like we have gone through, and makes the ADM a flexible and adaptable framework for enterprise architecture development. If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment.